Has anyone considered how good of a song Who Won't Smoke would be if Nardo Wick wasn't on the song? Has anyone considered it wouldn't be no Who Won't Smoke if I wasn't on the song?
I'm courtside in the club like the Cavaliers. Stripper money here, busting out they booster years.
I think it's pretty clear that Doechii had the worst freestyle this year. I mean, normally I don't really care too much about the like to dislike ratio on videos, but this time it reflects my opinions on the performance. And I was glad to find out that I'm not the only one having mixed feelings about it. People were actually flaming her in the comments. I mean, of course, we also had casuals who praised the shit out of it and thought it was the best thing ever, but that's something you see under every XXL freestyle. And this time we actually saw more negative comments than usual. So yeah, this was definitely the most freestyle I ever heard. Her performance can be divided into two parts, as there's a flow switch at the 50-second mark. She starts off with a very slow flow, overpronouncing every word to annoy the listener as much as possible. Just like Nicki Minaj early on in her career. You know, the annoying Barbie girl style. I mean, you can tell that she was influenced by it. And I would even say that she tried to mimic Iggy Azalea. The pitch of her voice changed throughout the performance, going up and down like a roller coaster. She really tried to piss us off as much as possible. And she did. Mission accomplished.
Doechii season, ho, don't you see? Top of the food chain and you open season.
It wasn't just the voice or the rapping style. Her delivery was awful too. Hard to focus on what you're trying to say when you're going through every emotional phase at once. Completely obnoxious and irritating.
Munching, biting, teething. I just stay on beat and you stay on the defense. I could write a book the way y'all hoes tried to read me.
Nobody wants to hear that, especially when you can't give us anything else. She was trying her best to show us how lyrically and technically gifted she is by including multi-syllabic rhymes that she rapped slowly while overpronouncing every syllable as if her rhymes are anything special. A shit present wrapped in expensive gift paper. Wordplay and punchlines were lacking too. Not saying much either, but I get the whole strip club scheme and what she was trying to do with it. Anyway, after the 50-second mark, she does this.
How?
Yeah. Thanks for destroying my ears. This was basically the transition method she chose to switch up her flow.
Gotta respect the game, gotta respect the transition.
She increased her pace and her rapping style became more bearable from that point on. But in terms of content, she could only give us braggadocious shit talk, which ain't necessarily a bad thing, but it was unfortunately the peak of her performance, which lasted only 13 seconds. I mean, how much can you do or say in just 13 seconds to make me forget about the painful 50 seconds before that, in which you made me lose half of my brain cells?
Stripper, sex worker, stripper, hoe, bitches, hoes, hoe! Bitch.
I just pray a nigga don't drown in the deep end. And I say drown in the deep end, cause I know a lot of niggas drowning and sinking.
Bro, what were these awkward pauses after every line? This was supposed to be a freestyle. You're not punching in lyrics like in the studio when recording vocals. I mean, those are two completely different things. In the studio, you actually cut all these pauses out, and they don't make it onto the final product. Nobody wants to hear you choke or stop after every line in a freestyle. He really tried to make it seem like he's coming up with lines on the spot. But guess what?
We don't believe you, you need more people.
Oh. Well, you may convince the casuals that you're actually going completely off the dome, but as someone who's been listening to hip-hop for over 20 years, I can tell that your whack-ass wrote it, memorized it, and even planned those awkward 1-hour pauses before you even got there. You're a terrible actor. Looking at the ground, rubbing hands, pretending to think of new lines, like, come on bro. This was definitely a verse from a song that you're about to release, and the reason why I'm even talking about this is because half of the comment section was praising the shit out of him for quote-unquote going completely off the dome without having anything prepared. Stop calling everything with long pauses a freestyle. I don't even know how you can praise him for sounding amateurish and sloppy. Mess up on the mic and get praise for it. Unbelievable. You think freestyle MCs like MC Supernet actually rap like this? If you do that in battle rap or in a freestyle session, you get booed off the stage. Messing up the vibe, flow and cadence with pauses is a no-go. Either do it like it's supposed to be done, or just prepare a verse for us like everyone else. Without acting and pretending, I mean. You weren't even rapping. Who the hell sings a cappella with pauses after every line? And the lyrics were terrible as well. I just pray your brother don't drown in the deep ends. And I said drown in the deep ends, cause I know a lot of brothers drowning and sinking, smiling then weeping. I mean, you can read this by yourself, don't make me waste my time on this shit. There's nothing to praise here, nothing original, clever, slick or impressive. No punchlines, wordplay, quotables or memorable lines. Pathetic rhyme schemes, weak flow and cadence, nothing worth praising except maybe his vocal performance. I mean, people always give credit for those who can create melodies. But on a rapping level, this was just horrendous.
Walking through my like on pistol shopping, trying to invent some property. Like gang leader, shit like Monopoly. Having my way, ain't no stopping it. Gotta thank God that I made it out of poverty. Long way from kiddos and robberies. Pockets on swell like I just hit the lottery. Now every day's a shopping spree.
I said, nigga had me in the studio one night trying to do that shit. I'm like, man, cut this shit off. What the fuck am I in here doing, nigga? I don't rap like that.
Big Scarr only rapped for 27 seconds.
It was over before it even began.
Like, there was nothing special about his performance. Subpar and lacking in every criteria. I mean, if your freestyle is this short, then at least make sure to give us something. Something to work with. You know, a short but meaningful, focused, straight to the point and well thought out verse with content, maybe a few dope punchlines, no filler, an impressive flow, great delivery, and something creative. At least one of those things. But this was just an off-brand version of the Migos triplet flow. And that's it. At least the Migos could make it sound catchy. But I really got nothing out of this. I mean, this man got outshined by the rattling and clicking of his chain. It was louder and more interesting to listen to than the actual freestyle. The flow is generic, heard it a billion times now, content-wise lacking, no punchlines, no wordplay, no storytelling, nothing creative about it, weak delivery, and his rhyme chains didn't impress either. This verse doesn't even deserve to be on an album. I personally wouldn't even waste a beat for it, not even a piece of paper, just a waste of ink. My boy really struggled with filler bars in a 27-second long freestyle. Unbelievable. Go back and write something that's worth my time.
Just another day in the hood. Squad 26 so they rub. Fuck the small talk, bust a jug. Teardrops tatted on my thug.
Detroit what? Detroit what?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Detroit, baby.
Babyface Ray gave us a laid-back and smooth performance. So calm and relaxed that he actually fell asleep 3 times in a row.
If I feel it's just a soft press, then it's a casually. If I'm speaking factually. Went to school up from the track, then spent a couple at sex. Masterpiece cost $50 actually. Papered up, I'm too deep, I think I need some milk.
Nah, but seriously, how can you choke and fuck up 3 times in a row? This is not a regular freestyle you kick at home with your homies when you're high and drunk and when there's nothing at stake. These freestyles are supposed to represent the current state of hip-hop. The best of the best, only a dozen people out of thousands get a chance to be on here. This is what hip-hop in 2022 has to offer? And I don't just mean Babyface Ray, all the freestyles we had so far, and even the ones that come after this. This year was truly a disappointment. But back to the performance. You really messed up and failed to recite the most generic bars in history. This man right here is the pride of Detroit. Not mad at people for spitting writtens during a freestyle, as long as it doesn't come from a song that you already put out. But at least make sure to memorize them and to deliver them well. I get that low energy rapping is a Detroit thing, but you shouldn't fall asleep during a freestyle. Like, come on, bro. Some people in the comments said he was stoned and drunk. That would at least explain the hiccups. But I don't get why XXL couldn't just record a second take. Or maybe this was the best take they had, and they said fuck it. We're not going to do this shit again. This dumbass can't do any better. But I want to commend him for staying calm during the entire performance, as if nothing happened.
I feel that you the GOAT, now that's what they asking me.
Come on, bro. Nobody ever asked you that question. Not even your parents. I mean, they probably grew up listening to lyricists like Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Kool G Rap, Nas, Biggie. And nobody in their right mind would put you in the same category as them. I get that you're trying to talk your shit, but you don't really sound too convincing when you're rapping like this.
Went to school up from the track, then spent a couple at sex. If I feel it's just a soft press, then it's a casually. If I'm speaking factually.
Only thing I kinda liked was when he said, "I think I need some milk, body like I'm silk, Master P." He had a nice double entendre in there. Silk like the milk brand, and at the same time a name drop, Silk the Shocker, the younger brother of Master P, who was the boss of the now defunct label No Limit Records. Nothing groundbreaking or sophisticated about it, but that was the best he could offer, aside from maybe the line where he said, "When I let God lead the way, that's where my life changed." But everything else was just mediocre at best.
Double XL my body, they want me to slide in this bitch. Don't bring your hoe around me, cause I might slide in your bitch. Shit, if she lucky, he wanna fuck too, so she better not trust me. 500K and this stuff in the Duffy, it's been 5 days and he's saying he love me. That nigga ain't fuck, he barely hugged me.
This one is probably my favorite performance this year. On my first listen I didn't get it and thought it was mid, but then I rewatched it on mute and saw the vision. Shout out to the cameraman. The freestyle itself didn't really blow me away, aside from the fact that she said bitch and hoe like 11 times in a row in just 39 seconds. That's once every 3.5 seconds, probably a new record.
Bitch, hoe, bitch, hoe, bitch, hoe, bitch, 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 bitch.
Anyway, let's talk about the positive things. I enjoyed her flow, energy, delivery and cadence. And that's probably it. Content-wise, it's the stereotypical bad bitch talk we heard a billion times already. Some said she sounded exactly like Ruby Rose and Flo Milli from last year. She really needs to improve her pen game though. This verse had nothing to praise. No quotables, no wordplay, punchlines, weak storytelling, weak subject matter, vocabulary, and her rhyme schemes were also basic. I mean, look at these whack-ass rhymes. Ho, no lipo, ho, metro, show, go. You know what this reminded me of?
Black Lee don't play, ho. No. Open up 8 gates, ho. Ay. We'll let the AK go. But I do my way, ho.
I can never be the side hoe. I beat bitches like Metro. When it's up there, no show. Disrespect, I can't go.
Yeah. She's really out here biting Naruto flows.
Niggas be biting mad styles and shit for niggas, man. Yeah. So I be hating, man. I can't stand a fucking biting ass nigga.
It's already bad enough that she sounds like 90% of the female rappers out there, but to bite the most basic things of YouTubers, I mean not just the flow, the cadence, the rhymes as basic as they are, and also the rapping style and delivery. People in the comments were losing their minds and acting like she spit the hardest freestyle in history, and they were attacking other people that disagreed with them, saying they only hate on her because she's a woman. Come on, man. But maybe I'm just a blind hater, a grumpy old man who can't appreciate top-notch lyricism. Who knows? Let's just hope that she performs better in the ciphers.
Hey, I know niggas kill motherfuckers and still snitching, so my nigga, you can keep your killer, them nigga bitches, hey.
This motherfucker sounds like a chubby and more energetic version of Cochise. I like to call him the PlayStation 4, next to the less power-consuming Slim version. Everybody's copying and biting from each other. They all sound the same, and it's hard to keep track on who's the original.
Who right for who? You all sound the same, lame as fuck.
I mean, we heard the same style 2 years in a row now. Next year we might actually get another one of these motherfuckers sounding just like Cochise and Big 30. And if that happens, then I'll call that one the PS4 Pro, knowing that Gucci Mane is the predecessor, basically the PlayStation 1 of the style. And the copy-pasting didn't stop there. They also bit the ad-libs, the flows, cadence, delivery, subject matter, all of it. I mean, they are childhood friends, so of course they will have some similarities in the way they rap. But this is just taking it too far in my opinion. They're not only biting from each other, but the style they claim for themselves has been copied for decades now.
I don't want niggas sound like me on no album. Keep it real, get your own shit, man, and be original.
Anyway, the strong points of this performance were definitely his flow, energy and cadence. Things that his homie Cochise couldn't do so well during last year's XXL Freshman Freestyles. So the PlayStation 4 is somehow superior to the PlayStation 4 Slim. But as far as pen game goes, both suck ass. I mean, look at this cheap and amateurish rhyme scheme he used throughout the majority of this freestyle. Tail, hell, fail, shell, jail, mail, sell, tell, bail, NYSL. The same shit Cochise did last year. Sag, flag, bag, mask, pack, ads, bag, that. Amazing one-syllable house mouse, cat hat rhymes we did in kindergarten. No content, punchlines, wordplay, storytelling, or anything creative or worth noting. The flow, cadence and energy were definitely the main selling points of the performance. That's what made it more enjoyable than some of the previous ones I showed in this video. But as far as lyricism goes, this is not far from what I would expect from somebody like a Soulja Boy.
I might need some bigger jeans, money keep poking out my pockets. Like I perform at Chinese restaurants, pull every short chopstick. If I said I hate real niggas, I'd be a hypocrite.
Nardo Wick had the opening freestyle this year. It was the underwhelming introduction to the class, and it got worse from that point on with Doechii, SoFaygo and Babyface Ray. His delivery was dreadful, muttering and mumbling for 48 seconds straight. Had to rewatch it like 5 times in order to understand what he said. And even then I had to go on Rap Genius to make sure that I understood him correctly. Energy wasn't there either. I mean, he almost sounded like he's about to fall asleep. Shout out to Babyface Ray, by the way. Didn't put much effort into his enunciation and pronunciation. Monotone tone of voice without any variations or ups and downs in terms of vocal performance.
Doechii season, ho, don't you see?
You know what? Nardo doesn't sound that bad, now that I think about it. But he had the same flow and rapping speed throughout the whole thing. Almost as if he's talking to you for a minute straight, while not trying to wake up the neighbors sleeping next door. I mean, even his chain was louder than him. Just like the white noise in the background. But let's talk about the structure and content of his verse for a second. It's basically a chain of punchlines and one-liners. Some of them are great, others are mediocre or just downright awful. Like the one where he said, "Don't none of us got diarrhea, but my people always taking shit." Terrible. My boy made sure that none of his homies have diarrhea. He even checked if they have stomach pains. I think we all know what he was trying to say, but this was just horrendous. I'm convinced that it's impossible to turn a shit bar into gold. Just stop it, please. But I like the next one. If I said I hate real people, I would be a hypocrite. The only way for it to be hypocritical would be for Nardo to be real as well. And that's what he was implying. It's basically a hidden message. But I have to admit that the line wasn't delivered very well. So just like most lines in here, it flew over most people's heads. And I didn't get it either the first time I heard it. Chinese restaurants, chopsticks, guns, that was alright I guess. I can change my skin, all white, mediocre. You can cut my fingers off, I still find a way to pull that trigger. Good to know, but that one is lacking punch I would say. I ain't fat and gaining weight, but you can say I'm getting bigger. This one was alright too, but of course very basic. I ain't picking up trash, but you can see we're getting litter. This is a dope one. Litter is a double entendre for waste products, and at the same time for the term millennials use, for turning up or when something is cool, awesome or poppin'. I need a hat that say rated cause I'm underrated. Heard this line like a million times now, but it's still dope for someone like a Nardo Wick. I really liked what he was overall trying to do with this verse, but vocally it wasn't executed very well in my opinion. Lacking in terms of flow, energy and delivery. The lines could have also been more coherent. It just sounded like he wrote down a list of like 16 punchlines, which he then read off his rhyme book one after another. The bars had nothing to do with each other, there was no clear structure, and it didn't sound like he's telling a story either. But that's just me, he performed better than I expected. Still mid overall though.
I just began it calling this a run. Tell me how it feels to finally reach the sun.
Next we have KayCyy, who, to everyone's surprise, brought a choir with him. A choir. To an a cappella freestyle. Now that is cheating. You could have also brought a hype man, a beatboxer, producer or DJ with you. But a choir is just as bad. Bringing them with you automatically sets you apart from everyone else. Cause it improves your cadence, the overall sound of the freestyle, increases the enjoyability of the performance. And if your voice is bad or weak, then the people you bring with you can make up for it. Cause it ain't the only thing the viewers can focus on. It's harder to spot mistakes or weak points in the freestyle if you're getting distracted by a group of other people. It gives you tons of advantages over your peers. And for that shit alone, I have to deduct points. Wasn't a cool or creative move at all. Now, that being said, the choir was too loud. They overpowered KayCyy's vocals, and were distracting him to the point where KayCyy himself lost his sense for rhythm, which means he was off beat. And you could hear how he changed his pace throughout his performance, especially after the 30-second mark, when he paused for a few seconds to switch up his flow. Bro, like how could you bring a choir with you to improve your cadence and then still be offbeat? Kinda like in the previous XXL Freestyles when Roddy Ricch played around with his jewelry, or when Blast snapped with his fingers to create a beat. They all fucked up. But anyway, aside from his cadence, I really liked his delivery, energy, and his storytelling was on point too. But he didn't have any punchlines or wordplay, as far as I remember. I mean, none of that is mandatory. He did showcase his artistry the best as he took more of a poetic route instead of trying to spit the hardest bars in history. Talked about the work he had to put in to get where he's at in his rapping career, saying that it took him years to make a name for himself, and that's why he thinks it's odd that people call him a freshman. He feels more like a veteran, and if he reached this level of success overnight, then it wouldn't feel right for him. It feels like the quote-unquote James Brown of his generation. This was definitely the most introspective and deep freestyle we got this year. I just wished it was a little longer.
I went from rags to riches. Some friends done changed up, congrats to disses. Because I came up, I got my hater blockers on. It's tunnel vision.
Saucy Santana rapped a verse from a song called Try Your Luck, so I had to deduct points for that. I don't expect people to rap completely off the dome, but don't just perform a song that we already know and then expect me to treat it like a freestyle. With 80 seconds, he had the longest performance out of everyone in the class. And I liked how he stayed consistent without becoming boring. Storytelling, flow, energy and delivery on point. Didn't mess up like Babyface Ray or rap unclearly like Nardo Wick. Although I will say that he had some problems with his breath control. I mean, you could hear him breathe heavily after every line. But that didn't bother me too much, aside from the fact that it occasionally affected his flow and cadence. The length of the pauses in between each line varied depending on how much he was out of breath. I'm only addressing it because I saw some people in the comments complaining about it. He had some great lines like "I got my hater blockers on, it's tunnel vision." Nothing too flashy or technical. You know, simple punchlines that are somewhat clever and easy to remember. Snatching controller from you people, I'm not here to play. I'm still snatching your wigs, call me a hair physician. Silly bitches want the beef, but I'm stacking that cheese. Again, not the hardest punchlines you ever heard, but at least they are delivered well. Not the best, but also not the worst freestyle I ever heard.
I bang on a bitch like Juana, man. Woke up, shit, damn, man, I got a hand. Get the neck from a bitch, then I got a scram. When I'm rocking off-white, no, I ain't got a tan.
Next we have BabyTron, the walking meme. People had entire essays prepared to praise this man, without even speaking about the actual freestyle. BabyTron absolutely changed my life. Before listening to him, I was a homeless man with no bitches. Once the presence of his music came along, my trajectory of fate in life did a full 180 turn. I started pulling all the bitches and started making quadrillions of dollars. I now live a luxurious life in my penthouse, all thanks to BabyTron. This changed my life. Thanks, BabyTron. Hundreds of comments like that. I had to ask some of the people on my Discord server what the love for him was all about. And they explained to me that it's just a meme. Didn't really understand why people would praise and worship this man and treat him like a savior. Why would people waste hours of their precious time to write these long essays on all social media platforms? I still don't get it, even after they explained it to me. I'm too old for the internet anyway, so I have no right to speak on it. But back to the freestyle. His performance was alright. Vocally, nothing special or groundbreaking really. Wasn't blown away by his flow or rapping technique. Rhyme schemes were basic, energy was low, and his cadence and delivery was terrible. The freestyle itself could have been longer and have more content. But the main selling point of it was the wordplay, the double entendres, the simple punchlines, name drops and references. I liked especially the one where he said, "Punched everything I'm wearing, bitch I'm freestyling." Punched hereby can have multiple meanings, especially when we look at slang terms. It could for example mean doing fraud. So he scammed to get clothes for free. He got his whole outfit or his whole style for free. A freestyle. I also saw people saying it's a double entendre, but I think they were reaching a little bit. You could interpret the word punched as a reference to a rap recording technique called punch in, where you basically freestyle and record lines individually. Like when you stand in front of a microphone and record one line that you spit completely off the dome, pause, think of the next one, and then press record again, spit it, and then repeat the whole process until you have a verse. That's what you call the punch-in technique. So you would think that it makes sense, but the words that follow disprove the whole point of it being a double entendre. Like, how do you connect punching in with the line "everything I'm wearing"? That doesn't make much sense, does it? So it's not as deep as BabyTron stands make it out to be. And if he really tried to put a double entendre here, then he did it sloppily. Most of his punchlines are name drops, slang terms that have double meanings behind them, and references that require a deeper understanding of certain subjects. Like, for example, pop culture, movies, history, things that most people never heard of. I'm not saying that you need to be a genius to figure it out, but if all you do is rely on name drops and uncommonly used references, then you can't be mad at people for not catching every line the first time they hear it. You have to Google every name and every keyword in every single one of his punchlines to get it. And that's something I can't really give props for. Cause punchlines are supposed to be felt and understood by the average music consumer the moment they're said, and not just by his fans alone, who are familiar with all the names he's dropping, or nerds who love to spend hours analyzing every single line and force deeper meanings into the silliest things, making a master thesis out of braggadocious shit talk. If you drop a punchline, then your listeners should immediately understand that it's a punchline, without having to Google stuff, or else you're taking away the punch. Cause it has to be felt immediately when the line is dropped, not 5 hours later when you're finished analyzing it. The way he rapped with that terrible delivery and cadence, the low energy and his poor enunciation, didn't really give you the impression that you should pay attention to his lyrics. Cause normally you're fully aware when somebody's trying to land a punch. You don't even get that his verse is just filled with wordplay and double meanings. Imagine doing that at a rap battle. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. You think you just dropped the dopest punchlines ever, but the crowd is silent, and you couldn't connect with them. They didn't get all the references because they have to Google everything. And your lack of energy and poor delivery made it seem like they don't have to pay attention. So the listeners didn't even understand that all the lines flew over their heads. Can't save the performance afterwards by explaining it to them. Cause I saw tons of reaction videos where people didn't even catch a single reference. They just sat there with a straight face and didn't know what the hell he was talking about. That is something that factors into lyricism. A top tier MC would make sure that every punchline gets noticed and understood, so that everybody can witness and feel the punch. Delivery and crowd control are just as important as lyrics. So don't try to fill your lyrics with references that the average listener can't understand, especially when your delivery is terrible and when you're not actually saying anything deep or meaningful. That being said, I still want to acknowledge all the work he put in. Rocking Off-White, you know I ain't got a 10. That was a cool one. He's referencing the fashion label Off-White. Pull up in that double R, can. Double R as a double entendre. Rolls Royce and at the same time a reference to Can's group, Really Rich. Helen Keller, if I'm in the room, it's gonna be silent. Helen Keller was an author and disability rights advocate that lost sight and hearing at the age of 19 months. None of these punchlines are mind-blowing or anything. He did have an outstanding performance compared to everyone else, but the bar is very low for these XXL freestyles. I don't expect you to be a punchline king like Big L or Cannabis.
Okay, I'm back in this bitch. This bitches that like they ain't hearing me. Every time I'm out, I gotta walk with my security. I'm a walking million, I ain't gotta wear no jewelry. And yeah, they been dropping, but I'm bored like a charcuterie.
KenTheMan. Kind of a weird name for a woman. Reminds me of Megan Thee Stallion from 2019's Freshman Class. A stallion is of course a male horse, so Megan thinks she's the man. And so does KenTheMan.
She's a man. Come look.
Goddamn, I feel like the man.
But that's not the only similarity between them. I mean, their styles and flows are almost the same. Even some of the stuff they rapped about. Like that they're not freshmen but veterans.
They saying I'm a freshman, but I spit like I've been here.
I'm not a new rap bitch. I'm something like a veteran.
And Ken wasn't the only one that did it this year. KayCyy, for example, said something similar.
And they calling who a freshman, feel like a vet that just got on.
I hear them every year. Just like the dropped out of college but I'm still a freshman lines.
Dropped out of college, but I'm still a freshman.
How the fuck she a freshman when she dropped out of college?
The subject matter in hip-hop right now is very repetitive and one-dimensional. I mean, even the punchlines are the same. The lyrical dudes, the quote-unquote saviors of hip-hop, they're all biting each other. Another similarity between Ken, Megan and all the other quote-unquote bad bitch rappers are of course their choice of words. Like, how the hell did you manage to say bitch and hoe like 11 times in a row in just 16 bars?
Bitches, 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 bitch, bitches, bitch, bitch, bitches, post, bitches, bitch. Fuck they talking about.
Every 4 seconds on average. How could bitches ever do a top 10 and I'm not in the top 10? I can't name a bitch off the top that can out-rap Ken. Well, I guess you should listen to more hip-hop then. You saying I can't name a bitch off the top that can out-rap Ken is kinda funny, cause most people watching this never even heard of you before. And nobody ever thought of putting you in a top 10. And this freestyle alone won't convince anybody that you're up there with the greats. Cause you haven't accomplished as much as the queens of this culture, like for example MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Lil Kim, Foxy Brown and Da Brat. You have to earn your respect first before you can even be part of the conversation. Aside from that, I enjoyed this freestyle quite a bit. Flow, energy, cadence and delivery all on point. Creative punchlines and wordplay, like for example when she said, "They've been dropping but I'm bored like a charcuterie." Bored not only as in feeling weary and tired, but also like a charcuterie board, a flat piece of wood that has tons of things to offer. So she's unimpressed by the releases of her competition, as she has a lot more to offer. I'm a walking million, I ain't gotta wear no jewelry. That was dope too, self-explanatory. Compared to someone like a BabyTron, you immediately understand that it's a punchline and also the meaning of it.
I've been doing numbers. I don't even fuck with math. Eat a bitch up just for starters. I don't even fuck with apps.
Step out Fiji, other bitches give and tap. Tap water, Fiji water, give and tap. You know, she really got some clever lines in this. Simple but efficient, just wish it was a little longer. But yeah, that was our number 2 this year.
To be honest, my life got better when I was fired. I've been in the rain, feeling pain, and I ain't talking about Jiraiya. Went to the jeweler, now the earpiece heavy. Pole hit his bag, now he look like, and as you see me, I thought it worked to my mans like a man.
Cochise surprised me the most this year. As you may know, I've called him a whack Playboy Cardi clone in the past. He always raps with his obnoxious baby voice all the time, and I always thought his music is dreadful. So for a guy like him to have the best verse of the year, that just speaks volumes about the lack of quality, skill and talent in this year's freshman class. How is the non-lyrical, quote-unquote mumble-rapping Playboy Cardi clone killing everybody this year? I don't get it. You guys know that I always give props where props are due. Even if I call you the worst rapper in existence, I don't shy away or am too stubborn to give you the praise that you deserve, when you actually did something dope. I may not seem like it, but I'm actually a very fair person. A little strict sometimes, but still fair. I give everything a chance, but at the same time I'm not scared to share my honest and unfiltered opinions on things. Even if they're perceived as harsh, reckless, or when I'm the only one on the planet feeling that way. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Other people's opinions don't affect mine. And Cochise did his thing. He exceeded all my expectations. Energy on point, flow, delivery, punchlines, creativity, and his overall pen game was one of the best in recent years. He gave us tons of anime references, punchlines that are easy to understand, and name-dropped people that the average person of this generation has heard of. I've been in the rain, feeling pain, and I ain't talking about Jiraiya. This line right here is referencing 2 characters from a popular anime called Naruto. Pain and Jiraiya. Jiraiya fought pain in the rain, and physically felt pain from his injuries. Most people in reaction videos, for example, immediately caught all the anime references. Me personally, I'm not the biggest anime or Naruto fan, but I know a few things from my little brothers. So I hope I don't mess up explaining some of the references here. From what I understand, Cochise is a big anime fan, and I think it's great that he incorporates some of his hobbies, things he loves and enjoys in his lyrics. Like for example video games and mangas, which a lot of younger rap fans can relate to. And I always like to give praise for people who have a unique subject matter. He didn't rap about things you heard 100 times now in these XXL Freestyles. Anyway, 2 lines later he mentions Neji, another character from Naruto who was mortally wounded after getting hit by a pole in his back. Throw the work to my mans like I'm Manning, referencing the quarterback Manning, but at the same time he's playing with the word man, Manning. The next bar is basically a rehashed version of one of Lil Wayne's lines on 6 Foot 7 Foot, in which he said, "Real G's move in silence like lasagna." Never really liked this line, cause the G in lasagna ain't silent. You would read it differently if you left it out. Without the G, it would be pronounced lasagna. Many people in hip-hop praise him and use the line in arguments to prove that Wayne is the GOAT, even though it doesn't really make any sense, and Cochise obviously drew inspiration from it. If I ever take a L, it's in silence like salmon. Now this bar actually makes sense, cause the L in salmon is indeed silent. So he did better than Wayne. Should we now praise him for creating his own improved version of Lil Wayne's punchline, or do you consider it biting and copying? I'll leave it up to you. Keep God on my mind, you would think I'm Fred Hammond. You can see that he put a lot of effort in it. His use of rhetorical devices throughout the verse is praiseworthy. Lots of comparisons, double entendres, metaphors, wordplay, references, like for example the game Rocket League and the basketball team Houston Rockets. Like I said, he doesn't just reference things that most people have to look up. He references things that millions of people know about. Compared to someone like a BabyTron, a lot of his lines are delivered way better. I also like the end of his verse where he put his faith in God over his newfound money and fame, while adding that he would rather spend some time with his family and friends playing video games, for example, which sets him apart from everyone else according to himself. And it fits the whole video game anime scheme he used from start to finish. Great ending, but I personally didn't like the beginning of his verse. Like, who the hell starts off a freestyle with,
To be honest, my life got better when I was fired.
Okay.
I also had mixed feelings about his cadence. He lost his sense for rhythm in the middle of his verse. I mean, he was constantly changing his rapping speeds, and it kinda weakened his delivery a little. He also sounded a tad bit nervous, which is pretty normal, I think. But aside from that, I got more than what I wanted from a Cochise verse. But most of the freshmen disappointed me, and overall this was definitely one of the weaker classes so far.
Okay, I pull up, I'm on it now. Okay. And yeah, shorty pull up and she follow. Each she go, we go finna what.
I wonder what you listen to.